The Rift is back, and so am I. So let's talk about it. Hello everybody, Elijah here, back with another Epic 7 video, and yes, I have returned from my hiatus. It's been like a month, like over a month, since I made a video period on YouTube at all. So we're back. The Rift is here, the new Rift. It is grass element favored, and I'm gonna be going over the team that I'm using as well as just like my thoughts about this Rift. I will say, I feel like this Rift, if you have the right units, it is a lot easier than the last Rift because you're not dealing with too much RNG 15%. The only debuff you really need to land or would want to land is defense break. And as you can see on my team that I'm using right here, there's not even a defense break, so it really doesn't matter. You don't really need to have to worry about stacking a whole bunch of bleeds or maintaining a certain amount of debuffs. Like, that mechanic was just super, super frustrating. I'm glad they moved away from that. We will be fighting the Abyssal Tyrant Kraken. I actually really like this design. The animations are really, really cool. I'm really excited for the next like Rift mobs or monsters because like they really do like put a lot of effort in the animations and designs of these creatures. And I think it's really, really awesome. So this is the team that I am using. We got the new hero Wukong here. I will say, just to start things off, there's probably only two heroes that you absolutely need, and that is Wukong or Bellona, who they are both currently on banner. So like if you can summon one of them, I would recommend it. And if you have them both, you are set. You are literally set for this Rift. You're gonna have the easiest time of your lives. I do not have Bellona, and I'm not gonna summon for her because I did summon for Wukong instead. And if you had to pick between the two of who to summon for, I would recommend Wukong over Bellona because he is also useful in PvP. But yes, we got Wukong here. We got Bernard, who is the new Soul Weaver that they basically released just for this, it seems. I'm using him, even though I own Ray. I just like him. I like Bernard. I think Bernard is kind of cool, so I'm going to be using him for this. We have Vivian, our standard. I mean, the PvE Grass Queen. You should have a Vivian. You get her for free through the hunt event thing, so everybody should have Vivian. And we have Miwi here, who is my sit-in, because if you had Bellona, Bellona would be here, but instead you have Miwi, and I guess another unit you can also use would be like Euphine. Honestly, just anybody that has an AoE to some degree. So like Mort could also work. Bazaar, if you build a full DPS Bazaar, like that could also work. But again, Bazaar stats are so horrible that I don't even think it's worth it. But yeah, let's go ahead and go over the stat lines of each of these heroes real quick. Starting off with the Immortal Wukong. Now, he's on Grace of Growth, because I just don't have the Mola to plus 15 him yet. And he is on Lifesteal Crit. This is my PvP Wukong build. I am actually taking RTA serious this time around, so like I can't really swap around too many gear pieces. Ideally, you would want him to be on like a raid set or a destruction set with like a similar stat line. You actually can go for more damage and have less bulk. To be completely honest, like if you are going to put him on destruction or raid set, but if you're going to use him for PvE, obviously his stats are probably going to look very similar to this, or you can really use any set. And I'm not going to lie to you, you could put him on anything, he is going to work. His main bread and butter is going to be his S1. I don't play him with his skill on because it doesn't really do too much for me in this fight, so we just have him only S1ing only because he does an AoE attack for his S1 on his turn, which is kind of like why you would want to be using him, because you want to use AoEs in this fight. Like a ton of AoEs is like what you want in the current Rift. And then you have my Miwi here. She is another unit that is built on a more DPS build. The stats I don't really think matter too much. I don't know. I just built her with some damage just so that she can do a little bit of something. And it's really just because she has an AoE on her S2 as well as her S3, so that it kind of lowers the, I don't even know what it's called, but like the tentacle things. We'll get into that more detail, the boss mechanics, when I actually showcase the fight itself. But yeah, this is what Miui's there for. She does some AoEs. Ideally, you would have Bellona here, but I'm using what I got without having to like summon for units that I don't have. And then we have our kind of sustain unit here. We have a Bernard. The only thing that really matters for your Soul Weaver, whether you have Bernard, whether you have Ray, heck, you can even have Destina if you really had to, is that they're faster than everybody on your team. Because this match starts off by your entire team getting debuffed, and you just want to immediately cleanse all that debuff and grant immunity, ideally, which is why Bernard and Ray are like best in slot for that. So like for me, 230 speed, probably 240 would be more ideal, is kind of like what I went for, but that's really all you need to aim for your support, your little Soul Weaver. And then you have a backup immunity from Vivian. Just build her like any standard. I mean, you could honestly go for way more damage than this. I just didn't want to give her any good gear. Like, I have pretty much handy-down gear on, like, everybody outside of Wukong. He's, like, the only person that actually has, like, decent gear. Everybody else has kind of whatever. And it works. Like, you don't really have to have that intensive amount of gear for this go-around. It's really more so having the right units, I would say, for this Rift. From what I have noticed, what I'm starting to see with some of these test runs, it's really just a matter of having the right units. As you can see, we do not have a defense breaker here, and there is only really one like reliable defense breaker that would fit in here, and that is Bellona. So that kind of like is like one of those things is why she's kind of really crucial for this if you do have her, and she's very much like best in slot. Her along with Wukong. Everybody else can kind of be flexed out with other units. Vivian's also really nice because she can grant immunity as well as she has an AoE, and she can, you know, just provide a lot of damage to your teams. And all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a run. And I'll show you what this team looks like. We obviously are going to be fully autoing this. I don't really look at it. As you can see here, full debuffs, he cleanses it. Vivian goes, it gives everybody attack a buff, so there's more damage there. Miui goes, she does an AoE, and every time you do an AoE, you reduce the amount of tentacles he has. And with the more tentacles he has, like the more like damage he does, as well as he doesn't suffer as much damage, I'm pretty sure. And then the damage then starts to increase, right? So you want to get as many of these as possible. And Bellona just makes that, Bellona plus Wukong plus Vivian makes that super, super easy. But hey, we're working with what we got. And that's honestly the only, and I feel like the only mechanics you have to really worry about. You don't have to like overly stack a ton of debuffs. You don't have to like do a bunch of extra stuff and worry about getting 15%ed and just like, you know, ideally, if you can get a defense break in there, that would be really nice. But instead, we have a little target here, which increases the amount of damage suffered. So that's like another boost to damage. Defense break would be better, but, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, we're just gonna keep playing through this. There's not really much to see. Because again, this Rift is just so much more like straightforward, and I love that. But again, it is a little bit more like you need certain units for it. I'm doing currently just like almost like 30% of his HP in a run. So in like 3 to 4 runs, he is dead. I am currently level 6, so still in the beginner stages. Obviously, there are things that I can do to increase my damage, to do more stuff. But again, I am somebody that is not too hyper-focused on PvE content anymore, at least not like how I used to be. I used to be very, very big on the PvE content nonsense, but like I kind of just do the most budget and the most simple things as possible and the most like, you know, slap together gear things for a lot of these events and stuff like that. And I cleared through all of the other Rift using the bare minimum, and I'm planning on doing it again for this Rift. As we get to like higher levels of this, it does seem like they have made it so that you can introduce new heroes. So like your thief heroes could be really, really good for this, especially when you get to like tier 3. You can then kind of like not necessarily have to worry about having to use like AoE units. You could probably use your like Midnight Galililius or just like some of your other high damage single target thief heroes, things like what? You could probably use like Sid as well. He could probably work. He also has a defense break when we get into the later levels. And then like the end levels, we obviously have this, which I'm pretty sure this is just for Bologna. Um, and then you have like the increase the counter. And then you have this where you can completely disregard having a Soul Weaver and just have a team of all DPSs. So you can actually work towards that one-shot team. I am using the sustain one. I don't know if I need it. I probably am fine. I do feel as though when I'm not using the sustain, my Vivian dies like during the match. So again, unless I give my Vivian some more HP, I think I'm going to stick with this. But when we get to the later levels, I'll probably switch it to just doing more damage because more damage is always nice. So there you go. But yeah, like I said in the beginning of this video, I think this Rift is a lot more approachable, a lot more easier to like actually participate in this go around. You just need certain units. It's a little more unit gated, but it is still a lot more, I would say, easier. Especially, I mean, you only need like Wukong or Bologna, and I think most people probably, if you've been playing this game for a long time, you probably already have Bologna at least, so you don't necessarily worry about summoning anything. Or you could just summon for Wukong, who is also really good for PvP. So there is that. But yeah, I'm going to conclude this video here. If you did enjoy, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if anything has happened since I've been on hiatus. I'll let you know on my end. I hit Emperor while I was gone. So I will probably make more RTA content in the near future. In regards to the climb to Emperor and dealing and fighting Legend and Emperor players left and right, maybe I might end this season off in Legend. Who knows? We'll just have to see. That's kind of like what's in the works, kind of what's cooking. While I've been gone, I've been just learning how to like actually play the game in a more competitive sense. So that has been a lot of fun. I'll be sharing that all with you all. Okay. Anyway, see you all in the next video. Peace out.